there are a number of programs. I mean, the program I can talk about today is the Aboriginal Transition Coach program that we've put in place. It enhances student success by providing extra support for both academic and social and emotional needs. And we try to ensure student success by making them feel more confident in their strengths and abilities, more comfortable in their attendance and participation at school. And we hope to obviously therefore increase the chances of successful transitions between grades and towards their ultimate graduation, grade 12 and achieving a dogwood certificate being the ultimate goal. All our secondary Indigenous learners, so we start with them now we have a middle school program that starts in grade 7. Previously it was junior high 8 to 10. It's as they move out of the elementary system, working towards the graduation system. It had been our experience that transitions for this group of students were difficult, particularly as they left middle or junior high and went into high school. So it's keeping our students with us, keeping them connected to the district right through to graduation. So especially the 15 through 18, 19, sure that they know that there are individuals within their schools, within their programs that care about their success, that can help them both deal with their social and emotional challenges and with the academic. If life gets overwhelming, school becomes less of a focus, and so it's how do we cope with this so that we can achieve at that. To setting up the transition coach program, we were experiencing within the district lower success rates in terms of 6-year completion, in terms of kids staying with us. So this last year is the first year that the cohort that we started with 5 years ago have reached their graduation levels, and we were able to experience the highest level of success in terms of getting our Native and First Nations learners through to graduation that we've experienced over the last 5 years. We raised that rate about 14% from last year, and considerably over the last few years. As I say, it's the highest transition. It's still not where it needs to be. It's still, it's in the 69%, high 60s, as opposed to getting it up into the 80s and 90s, which obviously our goal is always to retain, and have 100%. But what we're experiencing now is a greater sense of connectedness between the students and their school, a greater sense of what they're learning matters, more pride in their achievement. I mean, they were always able to do the work. Now it's about providing supports to give them the confidence to stay in school and achieve their full potential. We have a learning from the elders course, or where we can draw on some of their experiences. We had a student go through who he was very proficient in trapping and living off the land. Once we were able to tap that into his learning there, that made school a little more relevant. So what I know counts, as opposed to sometimes students will run into, in the traditional disciplines, say math or English or science, it often underscores what you don't know. And one of the knocks against the traditional school system in British Columbia and probably other parts of Canada as well is that First Nation learners, Indigenous learners, have been invisible, or they were, you learned about Indians in grade 4, but a third of our population in this part of the world. Look around Port St. John for evidence that of the diversity of our population. You can see lots of things that would indicate an immigrant population, not so much that we have an Indigenous First Nations population here. And so I think that changes in the ministerial focus and in the way we teach in our schools is to identify that, hey, a significant part of our population live here. We're always here. They're learners too, and they're also teachers. They can teach us. We'll get a lot of the students who come to council will say that these programs really kept them in school, or they don't know where they would have been without this program. Doesn't necessarily work for all students, but it's working for more students. And again, as success breeds success, uh, kids will say, "Well, have you talked to this person? Hey, you should work with so and so. They really helped me." That builds credibility, student by student. And so it's about building a level of support and confidence in the program that hasn't always been there. I mean, I think if you talked to a significant number of our First Nations learners, there's lots of stories out there about how they felt alienated from the education programs or how they didn't think their teachers really cared. This is the coaching program creates that bridge, the connection, so that, as I said, when times get tough, there is somebody who cares, who is going to check up on you and is going to say, "How you doing? Hey, I've noticed you're struggling with this or that. How do we help?" So, I think you have to find the path that's best suited, and you have to be flexible enough to learn from each other. But there's no one single way. There's not one size fits all. And anytime that we try and force all the square pegs through round holes, you're going to end up with edges being shaved off and collateral damage, right? Valuing education starts in the homes of all our learners, not just any given population. So there's putting that basic emphasis on education,